Soshanguve in sounds and bites. Or how shall I put it? Let me put it this way. Soshanguve, the Republic of Everyday Greatness. Yes, I think I have captured my story excellently. When one speaks of Soshanguve, one must whisper Mabobani too. They are twin sisters who grew up in the same home, shaped by the same walls, sharing the same bread. To tell the story of one without the other is to leave it half-finished, like a song missing its chorus. Before Soshanguve was Soshanguve, it was Mabobani East. The shared story of Mabobani and Soshanguve. To understand Soshanguve, one must begin with Mabobani. They are twin towns, born from the same soil, separated on paper yet bound by blood, trade, and memory. Mabobani's beginning in 1959, its earliest residents arrived from places like Walmansthal, Lady Selborne, and the surrounding farms near Pretoria. Designed in blocks, Mabopane soon pulsed with life, a settlement of workers, families, artisans, and dreamers building. A city from the ground up, a division that created a new name, but Mabobani did not remain one. Over time, it was divided into two zones, Mabobani West, which retained its Tshwane-speaking identity, and Mabobani East, where a mixture of communities, Sotho, Shangaan, Nguni, Venda, settled. Mabobani East was eventually renamed Soshanguve, its name drawn from the very initials of these groups. Yet to the people themselves, there was no East or West. There was only one Mabobani, one heartbeat, one shared origin.
Let me tell you about Soshanguve and the Soshaviets. I'm reminded of a story often told in American lecture halls, a story first spread by Russell Conwell, called Acres of Diamonds. It is the tale of a farmer in Africa who, lured by the promise of wealth, sold his land and wandered the world in search of diamonds. He traveled far, grew weary, and finally died penniless, his dream unfulfilled. The man who bought his farm one day bent down to draw water from a stream and picked up a curious stone. It sparkled. He placed it on his mantle. Days later, a visitor recognized it, not as a stone, but as a diamond. That farm, the very soil abandoned in search of fortune, turned out to sit on one of the richest diamond mines the world had ever known. The first farmer had been walking on acres of diamonds all along, but never stopped to see. As I walked Soshanguve streets, as I sat in its markets and listened in its places of entertainment, I could not escape this story. Here people speak of leaving for Sandton, Johannesburg, Cape Town, even London, as though riches are elsewhere. Yet I see with clear eyes that Soshanguve is itself an acre of diamonds. The Soshaviator is proof of it. He or she rises in the morning, not with bitterness, but with enterprise. Tough times may come, but the Soshanguviator is tougher still. The diamonds are here, not buried deep, not hidden in foreign soil. They are in the hands, the hearts, the imaginations of Soshanguve's people. To leave in search of riches is to abandon a mine already sparkling beneath one's feet. Soshanguve is no waiting room of despair. It is an acre of diamonds. Soshanguve is vibrant, but its vibrancy is not borrowed nor manufactured by politicians. It is born from its people, who rise each morning with grit in their bones and dreams in their hands. Here, the pulse of life is written in self-reliance, in enterprise, in resilience. Crime bows low, happiness stands tall. Soshanguve is versatile, a country within a country, a republic of spirit. To be a Soshavier is to walk tall. He or she is not merely alive, but ablaze, dynamic, enterprising, rooted in their own skin, carrying no borrowed glory, needing no validation. He or she does not chase applause. Instead, satisfaction wells up from within like a spring that never runs dry. The Soshanguvian is powered not by empty talk, but by the fire of self-belief. He or she knows life will bruise, will demand, will test. But the Soshaviate smiles at the storm and says, tough times never last, but tough people do. Their toughness is not arrogance, but tempered steel, forged in hardship, sharpened in the school of struggle. From wounds they learned wisdom. From trials, they distilled truth. The Soshanguve is the new archetype of South Africa, not waiting for rescue, not begging for pity, but building, hustling, creating. When others stumble in despair, the Soshanguve rises, brushes off the dust, and keeps going. Their greatness is not in flashy cars or glass towers, but in the quiet knowledge that they have built a life with their own two hands. Soshanguve does not merely exist. It thrives. Its people are proof that dignity is not given. It is lived. Soshanguve is not just a township. It is a republic of everyday greatness. Behind its streets and suburbs beats a rhythm of life that is rich, full, and self-made on weekends. Book clubs meet under trees or in living rooms where neighbors debate ideas as easily as they share plates of food. Soon after, the smoky aroma of braais fills the air. Friends and families gathering, laughter rising like music, the spirit of community binding them closer than any walls could. Doctors are not found in far-off places here. They are neighbors. In Soshanguve, it feels as though there is a doctor in every street. Healers who have chosen not to flee, but to serve the soil that raised them. High-class cars buzz along the main roads, proof that success is not a foreign import, but a homegrown product. Mansions rise from the earth, built not on luck, but on labor, housing educated people whose presence anchors the pride of the community. And then there is the hum, the industrial hymn of Soshanguve's trades and artisans. Tire repairs where rubber meets dust, motor mechanics bent over engines with grease-stained hands, welders sending sparks like fireworks, electricians wiring the unseen veins of power, house builders laying foundations of permanence, plumbers ensuring homes run smooth, upholsterers breathing new life into furniture. Every trade is not just a service but a testimony. Soshanguve runs on the hands of its people. This is the true vibe. Not waiting for handouts, not bowing to politics, but rising through skill, resilience, and ingenuity. It is a marketplace of enterprise, an academy of life where education meets sweat. And every street corner is a lecture on survival and success. Soshanguve is a place where community is wealth, where progress is measured not in policies but in people. It is a country within a country, an acre of diamonds where the treasures are visible in plain sight. The shared story of Mabopane and Soshanguve. To understand Soshanguve, one must begin with Mabopane. They are twin towns born from the same soil, separated on paper yet bound by blood, trade, and memory. Over time, it was divided into two zones, Mabopane West, which retained its Tshwane-speaking identity, and Mabopane East, where a mixture of communities, Soto, Shangaan, Nguni, Venda, settled. Mabopane East was eventually renamed Soshanguve, its name drawn from the very initials of these groups. Yet to the people themselves, there was no East or West. There was only one Mabopane, one heartbeat, one shared origin. Families stretched across both sides of the railway line. Commuters traveled freely between them. The line may have been drawn on maps, but in everyday life the two remained intertwined. The railway line and highway. The railway that ran through Mabopane Station became both symbol and lifeline. It stood as the boundary between West and East. But it also carried workers and families across every day, stitching the two halves together. Later, the Mabopane Highway R80 connected both communities to Pretoria, ensuring neither could grow without the other. Two names, one soul, Soshanguve. A Mabopane grew side by side, like branches from the same trunk. One carried the deep Tshwane heritage, the other became a mosaic of Soto, Shangaan, Nguni, and Venda cultures. But neither stood apart. They traded together, schooled together, married across lines, and carried a shared identity that endures. Today, a region alive with connection, now both townships form part of Region 1 of Tshwane, no longer treated as divided but as one integrated urban hub. Their shared roots remain visible in the stories of families, in the transport lines that bind them, and in the way people still say, I'm going to Mabopane or I'm going to Soshanguve. But in truth, they are speaking of the same greater community. Over the years, the two names hardened, Mabopane and Soshanguve. One carried deep Tshwane pride, the other blossomed as a garden of many cultures, yet they remained intertwined. Children went to school across township borders. Churches drew congregants from both sides. Marriages stitched families from east and west into one fabric. To this day, in taxis and trains, you hear the truth. Kaya Mabobani. I'm going to Soshanguve. Often they mean the same trip, the same destination, the same family. Together, they form a single metropolitan heartbeat still fueled by the same strengths that built them: resilience, enterprise, and a stubborn joy in life. Mabobani and Soshanguve, two names, one origin, one soul. Here are takeaway points for you. At the heart of this unity stood the railway. From Mabobani Station, trains left for Pretoria every morning, carrying men in overalls and women with baskets on their heads. The station was more than steel and platform. It was the pulse of the region. Children waved at departing trains. Lovers met under its clock tower. Traders sold fat cakes and fruit to the endless stream of commuters. That same railway line was said to divide Mabobani West from Soshanguve. But in practice, it united them. Each train was a bridge, each passenger a messenger carrying stories and laughter across the line. Yes, this is worth repeating, and I repeat. Later, the Mabobani Highway R80 cut a swift road to Pretoria, turning both Mabobani and Soshanguve into a gateway of Tshwane's northern frontier.